right. Welcome once again to the beatzillapdx official news break. This is a very little interesting story. It's about privilege. When people try to flex their privilege, and sometimes, the things that are going on in the current popular media space, especially surrounding sports, women's basketball in particular, it's very interesting that this case also comes down in the justices that we have, or injustices, shall I say, that we have recently seen, with Maya Ponsetto being able to skate her hate charge for attacking a black child, Amy Cooper escaping a hate crime on falsely calling the police on and accusing a black man of doing something to her, which the video clearly shows was not happening. Um, and yeah, I mean, we can even go down to was that Bellevue Hospital Karen that talked about the little e-scooter that she was trying to get the boys off of, and in the process of that, ended up putting her hands on them. These type of privilege behaviors we've seen before, and in this case, I guess it worked to where this woman was a LA socialite, as they like to call them, and ended up running over uh, and deleting two children, one 11 and the other one 8 years old. And, in classic fashion, usually people that really feel remorse do truly, genuinely feel remorse. And then we have those like the Amber Geigers and what's that other lady that got a little bit of time in the Midwest. Uh, but nonetheless, this woman also was facing 34 years for the murder of these two kids that you see on your screen. One thing I can't help but notice, that the media, especially when talking about her being convicted, they're showing this woman is 60 years old and they keep showing you pictures of her when she's 20. So just be mindful of how they're trying to play on your mind with that. But with that being said, let's get into this story. Oh, family, and before we do, please hit that like button, share this out on your social media, subscribe to this channel if you have not already done so, hit that notification bell, hit the word all, that way you'll be notified anytime this channel goes live or a video is uploaded. And you can also become a member of this channel as well and help support that way. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Los Angeles socialite Rebecca Grossman will be sentenced for murder today.
She'll learn her fate for a crash that killed two young boys. Mario Ramirez joins us with a preview of what to expect in court today. Good morning, Mario.
Coco Brooke, good morning. This case dates back to a horrible crash in 2020 that killed 8 and 11-year-old boys. Grossman was convicted earlier this year in February, and today she could be sentenced to life in prison if prosecutors get their way. 60-year-old Rebecca Grossman, co-founder of the Grossman Burn Foundation, facing a potential 34-year to life sentence for a crash that killed two young boys, brothers Mark and Jacob Iskander in Westlake Village back in 2020. Grossman was convicted of 2 counts each of second-degree murder and vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence and 1 count of hit-and-run driving. Prosecutors are pushing for the max sentence, arguing that Grossman has shown no remorse and has also blamed her ex-boyfriend, former Dodgers pitcher Scott Erickson, claiming he hit the children first in a separate vehicle with no evidence to prove that. They also claim she was impaired by alcohol and Valium at the time of the crash. Meanwhile, defense attorneys are asking the judge for either probation or a lower state prison term of just over 12 years. Grossman's sentencing scheduled in Van Nuys later today, and we'll, of course, have that covered for you. Back to you.
Mario, there's been so much on this, just even since a conviction, battles in court over her phone privileges, accusations of more crimes. This sentencing will be interesting to see.
Yeah, there have been a lot of turns, definitely, and people who've come forward in support of Grossman, writing letters to the judge. So he has denied any appeals. We will see what that sentencing holds here today later.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
All right. And so that was how the morning looked. Then also there was something that came out, I believe, in the same in the morning with the parents of the children. And there was something that happened with this case that they pulled the original DAs off of the case mid case, which was kind of weird. But check this out.
And now, as Grossman awaits sentencing on murder and manslaughter charges, the parents say they can't understand why the two deputy DAs were pulled off the case.
It is a shock. It is worrisome, and it certainly a change that makes us unsettled.
Interesting, to say the least. You know, not I can't really say it's shocking because it's not. But yeah. So they were playing loose with the law, as you see. However, and actually at the end of the day, when she was facing life and facing 34 years, her attorneys were looking for a lot more lenient of a sentence. But as it seems to have worked out, it might have worked out in her favor. We'll see. But that being said, there is how the afternoon played out. And this is what we shall see now.
LA socialite Rebecca Grossman has been sentenced to 15 years to life for the murders of two young brothers in Westlake Village. It's Fox 11's Haley Winslow reports the boy's mother says she's not satisfied with Grossman's punishment.
Well, considering how she was facing 34 years, it almost looks to me as the defense got what they were asking for. And what they say, a little over 12 years, the sentence is 15 years on two. Shall I say it one more time? On two murders. She gets 15 years. So with that being said, that's still quite a bit of privilege on that's not even a double homicide. See, I mean, it's a double homicide, but it literally is the upcharge to murder. And for two bodies. And all the other counts that went along with the vehicle and all of that. 15 years. I'm sure there are people who take plea deals to get less time because they're threatening you with being gone that amount of time. However, being convicted of two bodies, going to trial, not taking a plea deal, on two bodies, this woman has to do 15 years, which most likely she'll only do 7. Ooh-wee. Let's listen to more of this.
Remember Mark and Jacob. Say their names. Remember Mark and Jacob.
Memories of Mark and Jacob, all Nancy Iskander has left to hold on to after watching her 8 and 11-year-old sons die as the family crossed the street on a Westlake Village crosswalk in September of 2020.
Mark was my heart, the kind heart, the big heart, the smart boy. He wanted to become a neurosurgeon. Jacob was my tough boy. He was the family protector. And many people were in court today to speak about them. And they did a wonderful job talking to the judge.
Their convicted murderer, 60-year-old Rebecca Grossman, co-founder of her husband's global Grossman Burn Foundation. Prosecutors say Grossman was under the influence of Valium and alcohol, going 80 on the residential road, only stopping after hitting the kids when her car broke down, and then blaming the tragedy on her boyfriend. As family and friends from both sides delivered full...
Did you catch that? Did you guys catch that? So after all of that, she was drunk, high on drugs, ran over these babies, and then immediately blamed it on her boyfriend. She just ran over 2 children. And instead of saying, oh my God, what did I do? She literally throws her boyfriend under the bus, who has nothing to do with it. If you believe that this woman has any remorse in her body, you are out of your mind. However, she comes in looking somber, and see, this is when they want to make white women look vulnerable in the court. One thing they will do is, number one, they will fatten them up. So they want to fatten them up, and then also they'll put glasses on. Got to have the glasses, and maybe even a sweater. Glasses and a sweater. Y'all remember? What's that lady's name? Oh man, she actually got convicted. The one who's crying. I can't. There's been so many of these doggone police killings. Um, man, I actually did a video on her. Her name escapes me right now. But the lady that is gone now. I think she got 10 years. I think her and Amber Geiger both got 10 years for the men that they unrighteously deleted. And I'll never forget, Amber Geiger was in there with a sweater. I can't remember glasses, but she was most definitely in there with the sweater. They all do the whole sweater routine. Especially if you need to soften this white woman's image up, there will be a sweater involved. That's just, I don't know where that comes from. Maybe that's one of them psychology things, like going back to, well, this makes people feel comfortable. It almost reminds me of the Cosby Show, to be quite honest. With the feeling homey, when you always seen Cliff Huxtable sweaters, all them fancy Coogies he was wearing. It just kind of gives that energy to me, like you're trying to go for the homey look, the I'm safe appearance. You ran over 2 kids, lady. I don't know what to say. But nonetheless, she tried to blame it on her boyfriend, and that's pretty foul. Let me go back a little bit so you can hear that again, because that's very interesting.
And alcohol, going 80 on the residential road, only stopping after hitting the kids when her car broke down, and then blaming the tragedy on her boyfriend. As family and friends from both sides delivered 4 hours.
You seen that car too. So she blamed it on her boyfriend only after her car broke down from hitting the kids.
Of heart-wrenching, tense, and emotionally draining impact statements. The biggest impact, despite court rules, the 2 moms addressing each other for the very first time. This court sketch showing Miss Iskander expressing resentment that Grossman's never apologized for killing her kids.
Big time.
Mrs. Grossman never said, I am sorry for what I did. She only said, I'm sorry for what happened to you. That is not an apology.
Then Grossman responding that she was threatened with jail time if she spoke to the boy's mom, wished God had taken her life instead, and pleaded for forgiveness. Without an empty chair or dry eye in the courtroom, Judge Joseph Brandolino sentenced Grossman to a total of 15 years to life in state prison.
Typically, you can get a third of your time off. So parole board would be looking anywhere from 7 to 10 years of when she's first eligible for parole.
Wow.
She got off easy, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I want everyone to know Merck and Jacob were true angels, and they were perfect kids.
It makes me sad, but also happy that he's probably having a good time in heaven right now.
In Van Nuys, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
Wow. Yeah, that's privilege. Something else about this story also that came out as well, and that kind of is what caught my eye about this particular story, is she wrote them a letter, I guess, trying to appease, or I don't know what she was really attempting to do. But there's a couple articles out there Let me see. So this is from Law and Crime, actually. I'm just going to skim through this article because I want to get to this important part here. Let's see. She faced up to 34 years in state prison. The co-founder of the Grossman Burn Foundation was convicted of 2 counts of second-degree murder and vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence and 1 count of hit and run resulting in death. Okay, so here's her letter that she wrote. So this is her speaking. Rebecca. Dear Nancy and Karen, I have not had the opportunity to write you since I was incarcerated. First, I want to express the profound sadness that I feel daily, and that there's not a day that passes that I don't think about you and pray that you and your children are surrounded by guardian angels. Kind of late since you're the result of taking 2 of those children away. Uh, Okay, yeah, maybe too soon, or maybe you just didn't read the room or moment or have a clue. Okay. And that of course includes your forever angels, Mark and Jacob. Um your guardian angels, and that of course includes your forever angels, Mark and Jacob. In some instances, that type of line could really be interpreted for talking slick and talking real disrespectfully slick. To be quite honest, in some situations or circumstances, something like that could definitely be interpreted a different way. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, I guess like I said, when you talk about narcissism on this level, I guess that angle didn't play very well in her mind. Good grief. No wonder they called this a bizarre letter. Anyway, goes on to read. I have been and will stay and will always be very sorry. As God is my witness, if I had seen anyone in the road ahead of my car, my knee jerk reaction would have been to immediately steer away hard to avoid hitting anyone or anything moving in front of my car, she wrote. I wish that I had seen something, even a glimpse, any sign of anything. I have relived that split second in time over and over in my head a billion times. I give you my word that if I had been given the opportunity, I would have driven my car into a tree. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord. Oh, this is brutal. She said, oh God, no. She said a pastor encouraged her to write the parents to, quote, keep me from going insane. Oh my goodness. And this is what this is a kind of maniac privilege actually produces, family. Do you hear how oblivious to like just the moment she really is? Oh man. Goes on. She recounted the moments before, during, and after the crash, the life altering second of my life. She will remember for the rest of her life that gives her nightmares. She wrote about being, quote, completely mortified, unquote, when she learned that children were involved. She started hyperventilating and when she learned the boys had died. Well, of course, just like she's doing now, telling you how sorry she is. That's when that routine of sorrow, false, of course, of sorrow and remorse, false, of course, comes in immediately. Oh my God, I'm so hurt. Oh God. Oh Lord. Oh, I can't believe what happened. Oh, that person just is wicked and nonchalantly demonic as all get out because she was hyperventilating but had enough wherewithal to throw her boyfriend under the bus. Okay, sure. All right. I guess we're supposed to believe that. Oh, oh my goodness. This keeps getting worse, family. Quote, I could not breathe. Let me just take a brief pause, family. I could not breathe. Lady, if you don't get the hell up out of here with that. Who are you, George Floyd? I could not breathe. Stop. I could not stand. Oh, so you can't breathe and now you're kneeling. I could not stand. I no longer wanted to live on this planet knowing that 2 children died. I guess that's why she always kept trying to delay her trial. And as recently as a few days ago, had actually requested the conviction be thrown out and she gets a new trial. So she pushed it and didn't take a plea deal. So all this time, there's no remorse being shown. So she's fighting this all the way. Mind you, fighting it just a few days ago in the process of writing. So I guess this was after the judge denied her delay. So now she writes a letter with all this remorse. But they've been teetering and tampering with this case. We're talking about a case from 2020, which is pretty much open and shut because she's a hit and run driver with the evidence of the victims on her car. And how did she get found out by the police? Oops. It's because her car broke down from the impact of her hit and run. But this is what she wants to tell the parents. Oh my goodness. This woman is absolutely insane. And I don't say that she cannot fit style. Yeah, she can. Yeah, she can stand trial. She's fit. Oh. At the sheriff's station, she said she lost her will to live. Not her will to appeal, though. Quote, my goal was to leave this world, unquote, she wrote. Again, you still asked to be for leniency, had all these people speaking on your behalf to get off this. No, that ain't remorse, lady. At all. And it most definitely isn't all of this. Oh, I was just so ready to take my life. I didn't want to be on the planet anymore. Stop. This is really trying to exercise your privilege at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it just keeps getting better. All right, here we go. Some more. Brace yourselves. Quote, the pain of your loss was just too much. If I thought I could bring back your babies to you by having the Lord take me, I would in a second. Oh. She recounted the moments before the crash, saying she thought, quote, something came down on top of my car. There was a whole family out there because these children weren't outside by themselves. They were crossing the street with their parents on e-scooters. You were that far gone that you didn't see an entire family walking in an intersection and a crosswalk, a designated crosswalk. If you guys see where this accident actually taking place, it literally took place in one of the big crosswalks with the big old chunky white block lines. It happened in one of them, family. So I mean, all of this that she doing, it's insane. Number one, you were smashed. So all of a sudden something fell on top of my car. Ugh. She said she contacted, quote, oh my Lord. Like I said, it just keeps getting better. She said she contacted, quote, people at satellite companies like NASA and SpaceX in hopes that there was a video that captured what happened. All right. She said she wishes she never left home that day. Quote, I would have done anything to change what happened. I often wonder why God didn't take me instead of your two precious boys. Oh my goodness. Oh man. If you thought a grieving mother was going to take this as like sentimental, are you out of your mind? She wrote that her hopes were her, oh my goodness. She wrote that she hopes her foundation will one day buy a home near a hospital and convert it into a Ronald McDonald type quote. I'm sorry. Let me make sure I get that right. Turn it into quote a Ronald McDonald type house unquote for burn and trauma victims. Another quote. I sincerely would want to dedicate the establishment in the in and name it after Mark and Jacob Iskander. Another quote. I will always pray for your consent and for this to become a reality. Prosecutors countered in the memo that Grossman doesn't deserve remorse and is, quote, undeserving of any leniency. Quote, the defendant has continually shown through her actions that she is deserving of the maximum punishment that is permitted by law, the memo said. Quote, the people proven beyond a reasonable doubt and affirmed by the jury's by the jury verdicts in this case, and that the defendant's own terrible choices on that evening, September 29, 2020, that led to the deaths of two innocent children. Let's see. So yeah, as Long Crime reported, the brothers were killed when Grossman hit them with her car as they crossed the street at a marked crosswalk in their Westlake Village neighborhood, about 35 miles northwest of downtown LA. Um, at the time, Grossman was allegedly engaging in a high-speed game of chicken with former Los Angeles Dodger pitcher Scott Erickson when he reached speeds over 80 miles per hour, more than twice the legal speed limit of 45. She allegedly kept driving after striking the children, only coming to a stop a quarter mile away because her engine cut off. Authorities said it was initially reported that she carried one of the boys on the hood of the car for more than 100 feet and then, after hitting the brakes, ran over him as she left the scene. I thought something fell on my car. No, ma'am. At the preliminary hearing, a sheriff deputy testified that Mark Escalander was thrown 254 feet. Evidence at the hearing also revealed that Grossman had reached up to 81 miles per hour a second and a half before hitting the boys. She hit them kids going over 80 miles per hour in a crosswalk? 15 years? Really, man? Let me tell you something here. Now, this is something they pulled here, and this is why I really wanted to cover this story. I think that's about all because I'll give you the facts of this other case that happened here a couple years ago. Well, no. I'm not say that. It's been some years back now. Maybe about 8 years. There was a situation here where a Mexican girl and her boyfriend. She was here. She's legal American citizen, Hispanic. Her and her boyfriend, um, I guess, she was picking him up from work, and they were going back home. And then she ran through some leaves because it was, fall season. So if you're up here in the Pacific Northwest, our leaves right around uh, end of September, that early October, it is crazy. We got so many leaves that end up dropping. Now, if it's dry and it's not rainy, then you'll have piles of dried leaves. Well, these kids, for some reason, were in the street, not on the sidewalk, but in the street under these leaves. So the girl ran through the leaves, ran over the two little white girls, ended up, they ended up succumbing to their injuries. The girl didn't know she even hit anything until she got like where her destination was. Um, and then she found out what happened. So they tried to call it a hit and run, and they were trying to prosecute it as a hit and run. But the point was that you can't charge a person with hit and run when they didn't know that that was the case. Well, I guess it being Valhalla, that was the initial finding. Then somehow they came back and said, well, no, we can prosecute her for this or whatever reason. And so they arrested the girl again, charged her, convicted her of hit and run, killing these two children, these two little blonde white girls, and sentenced her to like 6 to 8 years. Within the first year of her conviction and her sentence, she was released from prison because her case got thrown out. Because at the end of the day, you could not prosecute during and within them circumstances. And one thing that always stuck out to me is why no one ever blamed the mother, because the mother is the one who had her children in the street in the line and sight of danger. You don't have children playing in the street at all. And you know how people pile these leaves up? So, I mean, maybe this girl just felt daring that day and ran through some leaves because people do that. That is not an uncommon thing here to see in the fall where people rake all their leaves up and then kind of put them in the street waiting for the compost folks to come, which show up every other 2 weeks. So, you might have an accumulation of almost 2 weeks worth of leaves sitting there. And if somebody, I don't know why you would kind of be a hole and do that, but nonetheless, there's no law against doing it. Nonetheless, when she did it, it ended up and resulted in the death of two children. But nonetheless, they had to free her because at the end of the day, she was unaware completely. But they went out of their way to make sure they tried to prosecute that woman. Here's the other thing that they did. Because that they had to set her free, they, the family and the mother, went and got with some lawmakers and legislators and came up with a law in the name of those children to where now, even if you don't know you hit something, they could come back and prosecute you for a hit and run. And this, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's still probably not constitutional, but it is something that they were able to put in effect. It would probably still be struck down on appeal, but it's enough to disrupt a person's life, and going through the legal, all the legal rigmarole is enough of a hassle for any one person and their family. So, that's just something to be mindful of. But I just wanted to share that part. When she's up here talking about how she didn't know she hit something, the first report said that she drugged this little boy for 100 feet. Come to find out that she drug him for 250 plus feet, hit the brakes, got him off the hood, and rolled over him. What leniency could this woman possibly think she deserves? But I want to just give you a tasty tidbit of thought. When all them people was talking about how Carolyn Bryant was too old to be prosecuted, too old to go to prison. Well, all Carolyn Bryant was an older, evil version of this same type of demonic behavior that could literally turn right around after violently, brutally deleting this woman's child and then tell her how much she wished it was her, while all of her actions have shown that she did not want to take responsibility for deleting her children in the first place. Double talking all the way to the gates of the state pen. And, this is when privilege meets narcissism. And so, with that being said, family, this has just been a Beatzilla PDX official news break. I wanted to give it to you like this because this is one of those to where I think with all the things that are going on, like I said in the beginning, especially concerning sports, when we're talking privilege and how deep the expectation of privilege really is, I think this is another testament to it. So with that being said, peace, power, blessings, and protection be upon all of you and yours. Thank you for tuning in. Again, don't forget to hit that like button, share this out on your social media, subscribe to this channel, and you can also join. If you would like to, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at beatzillapdx. And of course, if you would like to support this channel, you see the Cash App down here, $ beatzillapdx. And we also have PayPal, which is Zilla Music at PayPal. So appreciate everyone for tuning in. And until the next time, family, stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all.